What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. My name is hughwizzy and you're watching Breaking News Finalists. Mid-afternoon fraudulence, early evening fraudulence. Much love to your mothers. I hope you're looking after each other in these turbulent times. Make sure you are exercising your freeloading thumbs by subscribing if you're new and dropping the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. I want 1,000 likes. There's 1,000 freeloading frauds in here. Let's get down to business. We've got a lot to get into today because we have got breaking news for that ass. Fraud gang in the building. My fortification squad. Love to your mothers. I see you. Where you watching from? Let me know where you are in the beautiful world. The world that continues to give us headline news to talk over. We are going to be getting into a hell of a lot of different clubs' news in this one. So get your popcorn out. Get yourself a coffee. Nespresso, I'm here, ready to talk to you when you are. We're going to start with Arsenal players who are not happy with club bosses. We got Willian, who's apparently agreed a 3-year deal at Arsenal. We got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, close to signing a 3-year deal. We got Manchester City chasing their second centre-back of the window. We got Lille centre-back on the move. David Silva linked to Serie A, and people stealing from the Emirates. It's all going to be kicking off over the next hour or so. We've got Croydon in the building, India, Bangladesh, Wigan, Copenhagen, New York City, Northern Ireland, Peterborough. Fraud gang is strong. I see you. I really do appreciate you as well. There's been a lot of new action, a lot of new faces turning up on the channel. If you are new to the channel, please do make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell notification. We're back here every day. Now, I have to apologise earlier. There was no paper talk. It's usually early morning business. However, I've got builders here and builders next door, and it's an absolute nightmare. I hope you understand.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
They're noisy, and they don't go home till 5 p.m, so that is when we're going to kick things off. And we are ready to get down to the first story of the day. I've got to start with this one because I know everyone here is for transfer news, but this is despicable behaviour. Really, isn't it? This is outside the Emirates. Any Arsenal fans will recognise exactly where this is. These are memorial plaques from behind the North Bank at the Emirates Stadium. And as you can see, some cruel vandals have ripped out and stolen over 40 of them. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know if they can make money from this or if they actually want those bits of memorabilia in their own, like why would you want someone else's name on your thing? I don't get it, but regardless, it's absolutely fraudulent, and it kind of makes me sick because some of these are for people that are no longer with us, and that will really upset me if it was my like granddad's or something. And I haven't got one, but I can understand if you did, you'd be devastated. Whoever's doing that, you should be ashamed of yourselves, and Arsenal, do something to sort that out, please, because, yeah, absolute fraudulence. Anyway, we are going to move on to the biggest story of the day, broken by Matt Law. Oh, one of the biggest frauds in the game. Matt Law at DT. He works for the Daily Telegraph, football news correspondent, and he has said quite brazenly, quite bravely, that Arsenal are on the brink of securing Aubameyang to a 3-year contract. A new 3-year contract has been put on the table. We will talk about what exactly is going to be involved in the contract. Let me know your thoughts. Are you over the moon that Aubameyang could potentially be staying, or do you think that money should be reinvested elsewhere? He is 31. He is still in his prime. It's an argument we can have. However, it does say here in the article that the new contract that Arsenal have offered will run until 2023, covering the final 12 months on the existing deal and extending it by a further 2 years. Now, obviously, the timing of this announcement is something that's not going to make everyone happy. Super Chats, I see you. We're going to be coming to you live and exclusive very shortly. A lot of freeloading frauds in this building as well. Let's exercise those thumbs, baby. Let's go. Drop that video a damn like if you breathe oxygen or nitrogen or hydrogen. Maybe you're a real fraud. Anyhow, I just want to show you the article itself. doesn't actually allow me to go in because I'm not paying for stuff which is basically going to be available free on the internet. I've already done that with The Athletic, and I feel like I've frauded myself. However, a new 3-year deal, and Matt Law going on record to say that verbal agreements have been made. Now listen, if you have a verbal agreement, that is technically legally binding. So I would expect that unless he wants a real comeuppance, unless he wants the comeback to be strong, we are going to see the conclusion of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's deal at Arsenal, signing for another 2 years. Yes, I'm lit about this. Yes, I'm extremely lit about this because he's a world-class player. He's actually the only world-class player that Arsenal have got on their books. So, breathe a sigh of relief because, as far as I'm concerned, if you put him in any other team in the Premier League, he should be starting up front, and 22 goals in each of the last 2 seasons prove that regardless of his age, he is still more than capable of doing the business. I do want to talk about this though. This is a tweet that I put out quite a while ago, May the 12th, 2018, which detailed Alexis Sanchez and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's contracts. And the contracts are, wow, it's incredible. I mean, if you have children of a young age, I suggest that you try and get them into football. You will see why, having read this, £56.1 million transfer fee from Borussia Dortmund due in 3 instalments. That's what Arsenal are paying. Obviously, Aubameyang is already on £198,000 a week as an average annual salary. So I guess they're taking his annual and dividing by 12. 15.15 million loyalty bonus to be paid in 4 instalments before his deal expires in 2021. Incredible. The contract also contains a 2.26 Champions League bonus, which he will receive despite Arsenal's failure to qualify for the Champions League. I've got to say, that in itself was a shock to me, that the club were willing to pay him the £2.26 million Champions League bonus, even though obviously we're a Europa League team now. He also gets £300 bonus if he gets 25 goals and assists in a season. Did he do that? He only needed 3 assists, so I'm going to presume that he's done that. And £50,000 bonus for every Premier League match that he starts, which Arsenal win. And as of that moment, he'd earned £250,000 so far in the season when I tweeted that. Basically, he's already on astronomical wages. And the timing of this, it's questionable at best. And I do think that is why, as far as Arsenal transfer news goes right now, we're going to be coming up against hurdles. They are going to want to say things that basically time is not going to allow them to. Alexis Sanchez, on the flip side of that, cost Manchester United around £28,800 per touch of the ball. And we can go further into that with a tweet from Simon Stone, who says, it is a free transfer, Sanchez to Inter Milan. But Sanchez himself was owed £40 million in wages for the final 2 years of the contract. So with the extra year from Inter, payoff from United and player taking pay cut, they've made it work. I say the timing is questionable of the release of these news about these extravagant contracts that these players are going to be on, whether we're talking about Willian, Aubameyang, Coutinho, any of these players really. The timing is unfortunate, if anything, because of what has gone on over the last few months. Obviously, Arsenal are one of the clubs who asked their players to take a wage cut. The players agreed, begrudgingly apparently, especially some of them. However, they took a 12.5% wage cut in April after receiving assurance that nobody would lose their jobs. Now, this is clearly a problem because Arsenal yesterday made 55 people unofficially redundant. Some of those people are still finding out whether they have their jobs or not. I believe some of them are being informed as we speak that they no longer have a position at the club. Now, that in itself is a different discussion. The reasoning behind that, it seems quite clear, is because Arsenal have decided that a scouting system is not the way forward. They would rather work off their contacts-based system to acquire new talent. And that is why, I guess, this is falling foul of a few players. Indeed, their agreed wage cut went down from 12.5% to just 7.5% when they qualified successfully for Europe again. But having asked for assurances, and this is where Mesut Ozil comes in, I guess, because he was very vocal, I guess, specifically saying that he wanted to know where this money was going. It's now going to turn, I guess all eyes are going to turn to Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, and the two executives in charge of dealings at the club in Raul and Vinny. We are 1,000 likes. You are beautiful, beautiful frauds, and you are much appreciated. We're going to be getting into all the breaking news for that air. So I do just want to go over to the super chats because there are priority frauds who push themselves to the front of the queue. Alex Sandusky says, Alex from Des Moines, Iowa. Watching from Iowa. I don't know anyone from Iowa. I don't know anything about Iowa except that there is a legendary fraud in the building called Alex Sandusky. You are much appreciated, bro. Aubameyang says he would sign if we won the FA Cup. He called it. Rune the Norse reckons that he predicted that one. Ben James, Mr. hughwizzy, I'd like to send you $100 to start a donation to help out with the remembrance area to redo the whole. Oh, wow. Okay. Ben James wants to start a fund to replace the plaques which are quite clearly being stolen from the Emirates Stadium. You're an absolute legend for the idea alone. Hopefully the club is doing something about that to either reimburse or redo the plaques that have gone missing. Absolute fraudulence. I couldn't actually believe what I'd seen when I turned that on today. Umut Kara Arsenal says, what about the employees that got laid off? It is incredibly unfortunate. It is extremely kind of just cheeky for football to be showing off the amount of wages that they can splash on aging players when they are making so many people redundant. However, I would say from a business perspective, it is quite clear that that is not a tenable situation. And in any line of work, if there is no longer a need for your job, then you will be made redundant. So that's where we are. The club are moving from this scouting system that we've had in place for the last 20 odd years and into an area where it is purely agent and contact based. And we are going to see lots of movement, and I guess lots of predictable movement, because most of the players that we see at the club these days are on the same books. Not that coincidental. 3,500 frauds in the building. Much love to all of your mothers for getting involved. If you wouldn't mind dropping the video a damn like, that would be much appreciated. Share it on Twitter. Get involved. We are a football community. I want all the True Borders FC squadron, the old school frauds, to help the others out. There is a Discord, links in the description box as to other channels that you can find us on, where we are constantly talking football. Mikel Arteta is apparently prepared to sell 9 Arsenal players in a bid to raise transfer funds. That's what the Metro is saying. And a lot of the names that are being mentioned as potential outs at this club are familiar faces. Hector Bellerin, Lucas Torreira and Sead Kolasinac, all apparently not up for sale or on the transfer list, but certainly the club willing to listen to sensible offers. And it is being spoken of, Bellerin is being spoken of wanting a new challenge as well. Sources coming out and say that Hector Bellerin heads a list of players that may well be leaving. Here we go. Hector Bellerin and Alexander Lacazette headline the long list of potential departures, with Socrates, Matteo Guendouzi, Lucas Torreira, Mkhitaryan, whose deal to Roma I thought was completed already, Sead Kolasinac, Shkodran Mustafi and Rob Holding also in the shop window. And this is the problem right now, isn't it, with this club? Financially, they find themselves in a bit of a precarious situation. And even though you've got a multi-billionaire whose net worth is something like $9 billion, they are going to say that they've been consolidating Arsenal's debt recently by buying out the loan at a lower interest rate to help out. They're going to say that they've done their bit. However, sacking 55 people has raised eyebrows, and I've got to say that after all the stick that he's taken, it appears that Mesut Ozil was right to question and stand up to this lot, because the deeper we go, the more potentially fraudulent what's going on at the club is. There are people who are of the opinion that you should suck it up, breathe it in, and enjoy the new model, the new structure of this club, especially when for so long we've been dealing with scouting system, that hasn't really put us in the best position to get the best players. Look at the way that we ended up with Gervinho when we were really interested in Eden Hazard. It is not a coincidence that these dodgy agents are able to secure the best players, because the best players want the best money and they want to play for the best clubs with aspirations of bringing in top trophies. Let's talk some of the moves. Let's talk some of the rumours that are doing the rounds. Obviously, one of the most familiar stories that you're all going to be seeing plenty more of is Willian, who has, according to ESPN, agreed a 3-year contract to Arsenal worth around 100 grand a week. Now, I know that this is going to happen, if only because we know that Sports Invest UK only have about 9 players on their books, and Willian, David Luiz, Cedric Suarez, and of course Coutinho are 5 of them. So half of this clientele list could actually end up at Arsenal. Super Chat's still coming through if you do want to get to the front of the queue. That is the way. Vishnu says, please talk about the effect single players can have on teams. We've seen the difference Bruno's made to United. Van Dijk to Liverpool, Laporte to City. 2 players you want for us with similar effects. Okay, here we go. Here's my 2 players. I would like Gabriel, the centre-back, and I would like... No, I want 3. Sorry, I'm greedy. I want 3. I want Thomas Partey in the middle. That would be beautiful. I actually think Willian is a decent squad addition to buffer out Arsenal's squad. And Coutinho. Look, I'm beaten into a corner where I've been bullied into submission and know, with no uncertain terms, that we are only going to be capable of getting our hands on 3 or 4 particular players. And that is down to the fact that we want to work as a club as a contact base, as a contact list. So Raul and Kia will both be using all the clients that they are, all the friends that they know, as opposed to us actually looking for new development or progression in youngsters or potential or anything like that. As far as players that can come in and make a real difference, Partey, I think he's ready-made. To get the similar effect out of a Van Dijk type player, I just think is like fantasy. They don't exist, really. You're talking about maybe a Koulibaly could come in at City and do that, but there's very few players who individually can turn the club and their success around. Willian, for me, is not going to be one of those. However, beggars can't be choosers. They really can't. And Arsenal fans have got to wake up to the fact that financially we are in dire straits right now as a club. We are struggling to keep the club afloat. If anything, I think Arsenal, I'm almost certain actually that Arsenal earn 26.4% of their revenue from match day revenue. So from a match day. So, and that is the most from any club in the Premier League, which means that they are almost completely reliant on match day revenue. And of course, with the game being out for so long, they're suffering massively. Here we've got Fabrizio Romano, who says that Arsenal are still pushing to sign Willian as a free agent. This, I've got to stress, is a little bit of a joke in itself. Arsenal are still pushing to sign a player who is not only a co-restaurateur owner with the agent in question, but also owns said restaurant with an Arsenal player. Are you telling me that we are struggling to get Willian over the line? I doubt it very much. What is being talked about and does raise a few more questions is this. Arsenal still pushing to sign Willian as a free agent, talks on with the player and his agents about salary. So basically he wants more money. Okay. Coutinho, though, has been offered days ago, but there's nothing advanced at the moment. So here's the news. Barcelona are offering Arsenal Felipe Coutinho. They want him off the books. He's being paid extravagant money. However, I reckon in my heart of hearts that underneath it all, we've got a situation where money is going to be the sticking point. Arsenal as a PR group, and they're very good at this PR spin. They're very good at changing people's opinions on players. Look at the way that they ostracised Koscielny after all the decade of service, the loyal service that he'd given us. Look at the way the fans turned instantly on, admittedly, maybe rightly so, on a Van Persie, on a Nazar. There is a lot of PR going on here for sure, make no mistake about it. Players are not always going to be wrong or lying. And the track record that this club have got is not great. for this type of thing. So I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Coutinho deal was still on. This is, of course, the situation. The same quotes that were coming out when Pepe was due to be signed all looked to be done, but apparently Arsenal didn't have any money. We've heard it all before. I'm not falling for it again. I'm almost certain that if there are any players on this planet that Arsenal can sign, it's going to be Willian and Coutinho. Anyhow, Fabrizio Romano is very reliable. I do think that he, he's not going to break anything that anyone else doesn't know because he isn't the actual source. But it is always interesting to see what he's saying. And we will move to a player who I think could solidify Arsenal's future as far as defence goes for the next 5-10 years if they were able to get him over the line. A combination of William Saliba and Lille's Brazilian centre-back Gabriel, who Arsenal are in the race for and have started talks with, could see Arsenal's success guaranteed. You are looking at two of the best potential centre-backs in Europe. And if they were to get this done, I would see it as a massive coup. Massive. Maybe not for now, maybe not for 2 seasons, but for 3 seasons and more beyond. If you keep those two together, they're going places. That much is almost certain. Napoli are apparently still interested, but not moving yet because it will depend on Koulibaly's future. Koulibaly is going to be gone if he can work out situational terms with Manchester City and Napoli just haggling over the price. Manchester City apparently keen not to have a similar situation to Manchester United and Harry Maguire, where they were clearly rinsed. But Koulibaly is one of the elite centre-backs in world football, one of those names that just rolls off the tongue when you talk about the top boys. And he would be one of those players that could impact immediately. But that would mean that Manchester United would still be looking for a centre-back, and they have had contacts with his agents, but no talks. Now look, I'm going to give you a little inside information here. If you don't know, get to know. When people are saying Manchester United just had contacts with his agents, but no talks with Lille, that is because most of these clubs these days are using intermediaries. That means that they have not got any direct contact with the clubs almost whatsoever, maybe until the last day of the deal. Make no mistake, that means absolutely nothing. It's a little bit of a red herring saying we've had no contact with them. The agents are in contact, there are talks ongoing, and it is apparently not decided yet, but the player himself is said to be keen not only on a move to the Premier League, but also excited by the opportunity of playing at Arsenal. And I know that sounds like it's just a blue-faced lie, but we do win trophies. We do live in London. It is a great city. The wages we're offering are fantastic. There are other Brazilians there. He may well feel that Willian, Coutinho, David Luiz, and Martinelli, with Edu on top of the cherry, or on top of the cake, are the cherry that he needs to entice him to make a move. Anyhow, we will move on to the next rumour, which is regarding Coutinho. Gerard Romero here, who does work for Racing Sport in Spain, has said that there has been contact. Now, look, we know there's been contact already. What we're looking for is the confirmation that this deal is at an advanced stage. And I can assure you once again that all that is needed is a couple of signatures here. Yes, he's on top wages. Yes, he's going to accept less because he wants to come back to the Premier League. Is he going to want to be around fellow Brazilians? It's quite likely. Would he mind living in London? I doubt it. Would Arsenal be dumb enough to give him big wages? Of course they would. Felipe Coutinho to Arsenal, still a possibility. But what we do know, in concrete terms, is that we have made a 3-year contract offer to Chelsea and Brazil winger Willian, who does turn 32 this Sunday. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. There's so many of you in here. We're going to go through the super chats very shortly. I've got to say, you're incredibly fraudulent. I love the fact that you're here on a daily basis. I love the fact that we can share hard-hitting home truths. If you've got any questions, get them in now. This is your chance. Anthony Devine. Mr. Devine! Oh, Mr. Devine, he's back in the building. Beautiful fraudulent says, Liverpool to retain the Premier League. If not, who wins? Also, your surprise package next season. Okay, My predictions are never really that on point. I can tell when teams or players are capable of playing good football or are just good at football. But to make predictions accurately, I think you need to know as close as possible to the actual squad that the players have got, that the teams have got or been able to put together. So it's very difficult. On paper, I reckon Chelsea have got to be challenging this season. And if they don't, questions need to be asked, as they were of this man who has finalised a move to Inter Milan on a free transfer. He signs a deal which will end in 2023, and I've got to say he's been playing quite well for Inter Milan. Antonio Conte's men through to the next round of the Europa League after a 2-0 victory last night. And we've got big Europa League games tonight as well. I forgot about that. Wow. Let's talk about the fixtures that we're going to be seeing tonight. We have got 2 underway already. Bayer Leverkusen against Rangers. Leverkusen, I believe, are 3-1 up. Is that right? I think. Yes, they are. They are 3-1 up, and I really hope that they actually make it. There are a couple of players on their books that I'm a big fan of. Havertz, of course, is one that a lot of people will be talking about. Palacios has got such a great future ahead of him, 21-year-old. We have got Diaby. They got some quality players, and I'm not sure that Rangers are going to be able to pull that back. If they were to pull that back, that would be sensational scenes. But as it stands, Sevilla 2-0 up against Roma. And the big game tonight for me is going to be Wolves against Olympiacos. I'm going to be tuning into that one. Maybe we do a video afterwards. I'm not sure. Depends what the people want. Let me know your thoughts. Drop the video a damn like if you're obsessed and need more content. But Wolves are 1-1 as it stands with the team that did knock out Arsenal in the round of 16. Let's have a look. Valbuena El Arabi, who performed so well up against Jimenez and Traore. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they've been tipped as going all the way. Big game. Can they make it into the Champions League? That in itself would be sensational scenes. As we move into Manchester City news, because their young starlet Eric Garcia, who Laporte was babysitting for quite some time towards the end of the season, has said that he doesn't want to extend his contract with Manchester City amid Barcelona's desire to sign him. That's from James Ducker in The Telegraph. Barcelona looking to cash in on a little bit of potential. And I've got to say, for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, it doesn't really look very good, this, does it? It's yet another potential top player that wants to leave in search of greener pastures, in search of game time. Look at the way that Jadon Sancho could be coming back to bite Man City on the arse. You can tell that if they get that deal done, when Manchester United play Manchester City, there's just such an added angle. It's going to be beautiful. I would love to see Jadon Sancho dribbling past, I don't know, McTominay, twisting up Fred, breaking a couple of ankles, curling one in from 25 yards against a sprawled David De Gea, and then sliding in front of Pep Guardiola. It wouldn't be past David De Gea, would it? It would be past... What am I talking about? You know what I mean, right? He's basically dribbled through his own squad there and scored an own goal from 25 yards. Yeah. Confusion.com. You know what I mean. I just want him to celebrate like Suarez did in front of, who was it? Was it Moyes? I love the drama, right? I love the chaos. I'd actually like Man City to go all the way and win the Champions League so that Pep can slide in front of the bald fraud from FIFA, Gianni. That would be great. But as it stands, Manchester City are in the market for more players. Look at this. We're going to switch over here. Nathan Ake, the £40 million Dutchman, who makes the move and will count as a homegrown player, has signed on the dotted line officially. Here we can see him in official Etihad blue colours. The Main Road Special. I'm telling you, this is a top signing. This boy has the potential to be very, very good over the next 5, 7, 9 years. You can get good time out of him. He pads out your bench. He's a fantastic deputy for someone like Laporte who can play cup games. They want to be fighting on all fronts for competitions. This is the way that you do it these days. The money in football is astronomical. The TV rights deals are silly. And it is ridiculous and should be a real threat to all Premier League clubs, that City, at the drop of a hat, have splashed £40 million more on a substitute. Because let's be honest, that's what it's going to be. And it is no secret that Manchester City want to sign 4 more players this summer. That's right, 4 more players, including Napoli's Senegalese centre-back, Kalidou Koulibaly, 29 years old, and Inter Milan's Argentine striker, Lautaro Martinez, who's 22, being amongst their top targets. I've got a story here from The Athletic, which actually says that Manchester City have actually made an approach for Atletico Madrid's Portuguese playmaker João Felix. That's right. Over £100 million is spent, but Manchester City are apparently interested in João Felix. I don't know how much truth there is to that. But moves are going to be made. Big money will be spent. And regardless of the fact that we've just been through a quarantine COVID break where everyone can't work and we're all falling apart, no one knows if we're going to be in a job within weeks. Football is a mad business and will go on irrespective of whether fans are there, merchandise is being bought, or matchday revenue is being lost out on. Tottenham, though, probably the best deal of the day for me. That's right, I said it. Yeah. Tottenham Hotspur probably completing the best deal of the day for me. Not necessarily in the quality of the player, because he is decent. I don't think he's top class, but he is decent. And Tottenham have pulled off a bit of a coup here. Daniel Levy is scrupulous, ruthless financially. We know that much. But Tottenham apparently, initially, fell short of the £25 million valuation for Højbjerg, but have now agreed a fee much less than that, about £15 million. And that is going to include Kyle Walker-Peters to move from Spurs to St Mary's, which in effect, if you go off the valuation of Kyle Walker-Peters, means that Tottenham are getting Højbjerg for about £3 million. That's a good deal. It's a very good deal, especially seeing the Spurs, I don't think, actually had a place for Kyle Walker-Peters anymore, and he may well have exposed himself slightly. So, yeah, I've really got to say that is a top deal, and as much as it pains me to say good things about Tottenham, in a time where so many people are writing them off, and rightly so, because they have waited so long for a trophy, 12 years and 7 months, let's be honest. That's a fantastic piece of business and will strengthen that squad, undoubtedly. We move on to James Pearce LFC. James Pearce, who works for The Athletic, which I've got to say is a slightly fraudulent organisation. They are spamming links everywhere. And if you're not signed up, you probably don't want to be signed up by now. Do not sign up or feel bullied into signing up, if only because the information that they give is available free elsewhere. Okay, you just have to look. I promise you of that as well. I look for articles that are good or relevant or have news that you can't get up there. Oh, none. Regardless, opinion pieces and advert-free content is appealing to some. I just want to stress I'm not advertising for The Athletic. It just so happens that almost all reputable journalists have been bought out by them. And as a result, here we are reading their tweets. Liverpool have submitted an offer of £10 million to Norwich City for left-back Jamal Lewis. I'm going to say this much.
I'm so happy, believe me.
That's a bit of a joke, really, isn't it? You're offering £10 million. If they take that, they're muggy and desperate for the money. I know that Hull only got £8 million for Robertson, but if they have seen that deal happen, then Norwich City have got to wake up to the fact that Liverpool surely will be able to transform this guy into a top talent. I mean, he's got a high ceiling of potential as it is. But they have offered a substantial sell-on clause. Don't take that, bro. Hold out for 15 at least. 20 is more realistic. But I guess the one thing that's in their favour right now is that he only has 1 year left on his contract. I'm not a massive fan of the sound of that deal because Norwich are more than capable of holding out for a little bit more money there. A big talent, Jamal Lewis, one of their brightest talents. So if they were to lose him for that much money, you better hope that you can get double what you thought you were going to get for Godfrey or for Aarons or Cantwell Regardless, it does appear that they have been bold enough to reject said offer. And yeah, I hope that they stick to their guns because Liverpool can afford it. Trust me on that one. Regardless, we move into the next one. Breaking news for that ass. This is going to be slightly irritating for Manchester United fans over the next few days/weeks because there is no final agreement between Jadon Sancho, Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United. Obviously, this is a player that we are desperate to see in the Premier League, a world-class talent. Make no mistake about it, that's the reason they're potentially being asked to pay 120 million euros.
Good evening.
It's just slightly mad, isn't it, really? The money that is being thrown around. And it's not so much the transfer that I want to focus on in this video. However, the price tags, they're not something that players can control. We know that much. Harry Maguire is never going to live down the fact that he is whatever he is. Is he an £80 million man? And you're never going to be able to get away from that. But I don't think players really have to deal with the fans as much as they will their fellow teammates. And to me, this is what I want to focus on. I'd love to know your opinion on how you think that this will affect a dressing room. Bringing a teenager, well, he's not a teenager, he's 20 years old. Now, bring a 20-year-old child. He's a child, okay? When you're a grown man, a 20-year-old is a child. 20-year-old child coming into the club. I'll call him a young man. It's disrespectful. He's a young man, right? Coming into the club, having done nothing to prove themselves at your club, having done nothing to prove themselves capable of doing it in the Premier League, but to waltz in on nearly double the money that you're on. And I'm talking about a Rashford, a Greenwood, maybe a Martial. What is Martial on? Do we know? Because I do worry that could upset the balance of a dressing room which has clearly had togetherness for a brief moment of time. There has clearly been a camaraderie between the likes of Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, Pogba and Fernandes, even Matic. There's a real togetherness there. Are they in danger by bringing in a style of tipping the balance there? Or do you think he would get along swimmingly with those Dons? I've got a feeling he will get along with them. He seems very similar in personality. He, at Dortmund, loved hanging out in the car with Aubameyang, who has this, larger-than-life personality. And although he gets called flashy and blingy and whatever, is a bubbly, energetic, positive man. You can tell that much. And that is infectious. So if he is like that, then, that in itself would be positive. And I can imagine Pogba and him would get on like a house on fire, that the English boys would love having him around. Regardless, it's a lot of money that we're talking about here. Potentially 200, we're saying, £1,000 a week. £200,000 a week for a child. Incredible scenes. I'm telling you, mate, if you've got kids, get them into football quick time before it's gone. Okay, we've got lots of super chats. We're going straight to you. And we will just quickly cover a couple of other headlines in that Gareth Bale has been left out of the Real Madrid squad to face Manchester City in the Champions League. That is breaking news for that ass. Do you feel like he's been disrespected? Has he disrespected himself? Or has he played it as any cool, calm individual would when you're on about 400 grand a week? I see you. Top talent whose career, as far as I'm concerned, is being wasted. I'd love to see him making a return to the Premier League. Who is capable of paying those wages? Should Real Madrid, have blocked that move to China when he was potentially going to be earning £1 million a week? £1 million a week. Some more news here from Patrick Boyland from the... Oh, God. Guess where he's from? Everton asked about taking Phil Foden on loan in December, according to Sam Lee. Everton have actually also come out and said, or actually it's come out and it's been exposed by an Italian journalist. He's come out and said that Everton had a deal finalised and agreed for the Brazilian Lille centre-back, Gabriel, who is obviously a target of Manchester United, but Arsenal apparently lead the race for. Apparently Everton had the deal locked up and loaded in January. Anyway, we know, of course, that Arsenal have got a record of dealing with Lille, whether that be for the services of the likes of Giovanni the Genie, or obviously, recently our record transfer signing, Nicola Pepe. And the reports coming out of France say that Gabriel has spoken with representative of Arsenal this week, and he was particularly sensitive to their speech. What? Oh, is this Google Translate? Is it? Okay, right. He would like to join the Gunners and as quickly as possible. Lille are going to need about 30 million euros for a player who they bought for 3 million. There are 3.5 years left on his contract, and he's not interested in joining Napoli anymore. However, I'm going to go to the Super Chats. Let's talk to the people. Okay, Dramatic 12, you're an absolute legend. Thanks for getting involved. He says, this is for your hard work you do to keep us entertained and in the know of what's going on in football. Fraud Gang for life, my fraudulent friend. You are much loved. You're in here quite a lot. Dramatic 12. You are appreciated and a constant source of inspiration. And look, I get messages from people who do want to do videos all the time. I'm going to be in a situation or a position soon where I've organised my time enough that I will have free time to do people's podcasts and, you know, other videos or collaborate with other people. So if you do want to do that, just get in touch on Instagram is probably the easiest way. And I'm sure we'll be able to sort something out in the near future, okay? For now, I do want to focus on building the family and marching on towards 200,000 subscribers before I pass away, you know? Before I leave this planet, I would like 200,000 subscribers. Diego Carlos looking good for Sevilla today. Go get him and Sloboslay, along with Partey and Willian. That's not a bad summer, says Gerard Ojeda. Incidentally, Diego Carlos has an agent that we are all too familiar with. I'd love you to do some research of your own and see if you can guess as to who that guy could be. I would not be surprised in the slightest if Diego Carlos turned up at Arsenal. In fact, I'd say it's probably written. There are a set number of names who I would link to the club, especially now that we have been given the hint that we're more than willing to get rid of the scouting network, including scouts who've been at the club for 20, 25 years, including scouts who signed Cesc Fabregas or discovered Cesc Fabregas or Hector Bellerin. We've obviously got rid of Sven Mislintat, who has been accredited with discovering Ousmane Dembele, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, although I would say that I discovered Aubameyang about 6 years ago, so I don't know where he's getting. I don't know why I wasn't given a 30 grand a week contract by Arsenal, but I can understand why, if they're not into the scouting system anymore, they are making those people redundant. Aaron's with us. He says, hey Hugh, huge fan, super excited by Aubameyang, but I'm so sad about my club. Our classy history has been undone by an invincible lining his friends' pockets. Okay, look, let's talk about this for a second, right? Let me just break this down for you. Two wrongs don't make a right, but if you look at football objectively, you are going to find the game's gone, right? It has been gone for about 15 years, my friend. I promise you that. It is out of reach. And the fact that Arsenal Football Club alone were able to remain self-sufficient, were able to do their dealings without the need of this constant over-reliance on these super agents is a miracle. The fact that Arsenal were even relevant, never mind a consistent top 14 for 20 odd years, it's an incredible achievement considering the way that they have acted in the market. Because the fact is, football clubs are now the playground of the elite, the oligarchs, the royal families, governments, whole countries are coming on board and either washing money or supporting their advertising schemes, marketing schemes, PR plans by throwing money at this thing. I know for a fact that Stan Kroenke has no interest in football. You can tell that because he never turns up at games. It also strikes me as quite interesting that there have been cutbacks at Arsenal, and we are making people redundant at that club, where his other clubs have suffered no cuts whatsoever. Let's not forget that the NFL stadium is $2.5 billion over budget. This is a man who took out a £700 million loan to acquire the club. So there's a lot of fraudulence going on here. That much we know. The fact that he has alone come out and said that he's already helped the club by buying out our debt is actually smoke and mirrors in my eyes. Because yes, he's bought out the debt, but it's us that's going to be paying him. So in fact, he is in essence paying himself, and obviously at a lower interest rate. So it's him that he's saving money for. Let's not forget that this man also took £3 million out of the club in advisory fees soon after turning up. There are many questionable things about this, and the latest one, I guess, is that Kia, this super agent whose dealings have landed him in extremely hot water with the likes of Inter Milan, where he was thrown out after 6 months of getting too involved and telling the manager that if he didn't play the players that he'd brought to him, that he would take him out and that he would potentially lose his job. And lo and behold, he did lose his job. This is the same man that was actually arrested in Brazil, allegedly arrested in Brazil on charges of corruption involving football clubs. This is a very dodgy man. We know that because he's been dealing with the likes of third-party ownership deals when that was illegal in the Premier League in Mascherano and Tevez. We know that because he is well-travelled and continues to plaster his name all over Arsenal's future, going on TalkSport and telling people live on air that changes will have to be made at the club. Sorry, who the fuck are you? Well, I hate to break it to you, but he is an integral part of Arsenal's transfer dealings, the system now. And decisions are going to come down to who he is able to bring to the club. And as it stands at the moment, that is going to be the likes of Cedric Suarez, David Luiz, and Willian Coutinho, and potentially Diego Carlos. It's quite troubling. It is quite troubling. However, if Arsenal were to sign Aubameyang to a new deal, I know that that would put some people to rest, or at least some people's worries to rest. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, of course, close to ending speculation about his future by signing a new contract with Arsenal. Let's go to the super chats. Frog Gang, much love to your mothers. Everyone who has tuned in so far, you are much appreciated. It is, of course, slightly troubling, the situation that Arsenal find themselves in, but I will bring a positive side of it to you, okay? If you look at Arsenal's squad this year and you try and keep hold of the top talent, and that includes the likes of Aubameyang, Kieran Tierney, I'm struggling for other names, but if you try and keep some of the young potentials like a Saka, you know, and you add a top midfielder, a good centre-back, and maybe a winger or a creative source, you're challenging, okay? Yes, I said it. You're challenging. Now, does this sound bad to you, right? Aubameyang up top, Pepe on the right, Willian on the left, Coutinho down the middle. Partey in the middle with someone else, and a Gabriel at the back. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? It sounds like that pushes for top four. It sounds delusional because Arsenal surely aren't going to get all those deals done. You're going to have to choose two or three and be happy with that. And I guess concede that we're going to have to lose a player or two on the way to that happening as well. Financially, I don't think we're in a position to just keep everybody. Much love to Aaron. Much love to Dramatic for getting involved. You are much appreciated. As is Satyabrat Sukla, who hasn't said anything, but he's dropped some love. And I see you. my fellow fraudulent friend. Umut Kara says, Arsenal really signing a Bolsonaro supporter. You've actually got me there. This is the ultra-corrupt Brazilian... I mean, is that... It's a little bit political for this channel, not going to lie. You clearly know more than I do about them as well. He goes on to say, the class of Arsenal died with Wenger. We're buying fascists. Okay. Someone's going to have to fill me in on that. I don't know why he's saying we're buying fascists. I'll be shocked if there isn't some link to something going on. Look, mate, we're dealing with dodgy dons, okay? They are massive frauds who have clearly been lining their pockets and will continue to do so. The deal to sign Willian or Coutinho is questionable. However, if you strip away all the extracurricular stuff and just focus on the actual things on the pitch, they can both give Arsenal something. You'd be a fraud if you said otherwise. Okay, next up we've got Rune the Norse says, to fraud or not to fraud, is that even a question? Okay, this is the thing, right? You're all frauds. We are all fraudulent, fallible humans. The choice is yours. You can call out fraudulence, as we do on this channel on a daily basis, or you can practice fraudulence, in which case you will be called out on this channel. So expect to see your name read out. Rune the Norse. Make your choice. Harry Bennett says, nice one, Sonny. Nice one, Sonny. Okay. Nice one, Sonny, indeed. My son, very nice. Isaiah's Luna says, I'm a Newcastle fan. I found you through True Geordie. You've made me cheer on Arsenal with your passion and dedication. My question is, what's your take on the recent news on Newcastle's takeover? Okay, here's the news on Newcastle's takeover, or here's my thoughts on Newcastle's takeover. I'm kind of sick of it, and I know that you are as well. It's about time now that this guy let the club go. I know that he's hanging around hoping for, a deal that suits him quite clearly, but he's holding the club back, and I don't know what it is that you can do anymore. You're kind of helpless to these guys. And this is the problem with people coming in and buying the club, I guess. You are trusting that they have your best interests at heart and they're going to do their utmost to be that guy. Well, he's made sure that he isn't. He's told everyone in no uncertain terms, year after year, that you are fifth on his priority list. The fact that they wear the kits that they wear, which are direct from Sports Direct, the cheapest training kits that you can buy, it's massively fraudulent, the whole business, and is a classic example of how I think football's been gone for quite some time. That said, a Saudi takeover would have been questionable in itself. My only issue with that, or at least with that kind of line of thinking, is that if you're going to call out one, you've got to call out all of them. You're not telling me that all of these dons who are in charge of these football clubs have got their money through legitimate terms. No way. Some of these guys aren't paying tax. Some of them are, they're typical tax-free haven living dons who come around for a few weeks a year, or live in Monaco, or, need passports from other countries to get out of this, that, the other. They're definitely questionable, but then so are the potential owners who were making the bid. The Saudi regime has got a human rights record that no one really would be proud of, and I think that should be questioned. And whilst I don't think that that's actually what this is about, I actually think that this is about money and TV rights, as it always is. If ever there's any problem anywhere, just especially in football, follow the money. Just follow the money. And as it stands, the TV rights deals aren't being adhered to in Saudi Arabia, where you can't watch Premier League football legally. So we are bound to see more back and forth. That won't be the end of it. I do think that if you've got in, though, now, it's a lot easier, basically. And that was the purpose of financial fair play, wasn't it? It's not to stop people spending money that they don't have. That's absolute nonsense. If someone comes along and says, I've got 50 billion to spend on players, they should be allowed to spend 50 billion on players, right? No, because that would allow the enemy the potential ops, the little men, to step up and join in the party with the big boys and enjoy some of the lucrative deals that they've been hogging for so long. No chance of that happening for as long as they can. And that is why I feel, after a period of not really having any progress, you're going to see clubs move for a breakaway league. European breakaway league will happen, where they don't have to answer to anybody and they can charge what the hell they like or spend what the hell they like. Isaiah's Luna, much appreciated for getting involved, man. You're an absolute legend. Harry Bennett says, oh, mate. Yeah. Okay, we've got a rule on this channel. We read all super chats out, regardless of whether they are derogatory. I'll try and remix them if it's a bit fraudulent. He says, oh, when the Spurs, you know the rest, go marching in. So you're proud of that deal. I think you should be happy with the Højbjerg deal. I think it's a fantastic piece of business. I have said that much. I'm not going to be drawn on any more positivity about Tottenham. Satya Brat says, oops, forgot to send a message to you. Just wanted to say lots of love from India. Indian Gunners love you. Much appreciated. India, here's all the love in the world back. Aaron Luke, you are an absolute fraud for getting involved and not saying anything. Much love, my fraudulent friend. Joseph Jimenez Silveira says, how do you see our frauds lining up next season? Again, it depends on what we're willing to do in the transfer window, doesn't it? J Ignition says, the paper that we don't buy has said that Maitland-Niles has been transfer listed. We've talked about that on this channel a couple of weeks ago. The fact that Potter at Brighton has gone public with interest in the player. Brighton would offer, I think, Maitland-Niles an attractive proposition in that he'd be able to get considerable game time. They've proved that they're willing to take risks with the likes of Tariq Lamptey from Chelsea. And they're putting together a tidy little squad. He plays good football. They solidified themselves as basically a mid-table club, didn't they, towards the end of the season with some good results. Let me just have a look and confirm that. 15th, it's not really mid-table, is it? They actually just survived. And they're not far off. They're not far off. I think I've given them a little bit too much credit there. But basically, that is an option for Maitland-Niles. I hope that it doesn't happen. If only because he's an Arsenal boy. And he's very talented. He makes football look very easy, and I think sometimes that is to his detriment in that he doesn't need to concentrate as much to be as good or better than the next man, but that can cost you. Decision making is everything. Aaron Pascoe says, Aaron Pascoe from New Zealand, incredible. KSE are a disgrace. Those 55 staff are worth £1 to £2 million. Players took a cut to avoid this happening, so imagine what they're thinking about it. We should be investing in more scouting, not a super agent system. I think that's debatable in itself. I don't know how much we get out of a scouting system. Look, for example, we scouted Kieran Tierney for 5 years. On the flip side of that, you find players like Martinelli through scouting. We found the likes of Cess or Bellerin through scouting. It is debatable, especially if your contact or clientele list on the agent's books is incredibly high or really good quality players. And the fact of the matter is that Kia is one of the most high-profile agents in world football, so should be able to offer Arsenal a high quality. That said, I just don't like the way that it's only one agent we can work with. But look, mate, I'm not going to be too negative. Suck it up. You're going to have to enjoy Willian in Arsenal colours. Get used to the fact that we may well see Coutinho turning up as well. And try and look for positives, because I promise you, both of those players will prove worthwhile additions to Arsenal, who need buffering out in terms of that squad. They really do. Barra Elhag, thanks for getting involved, mate. You are much appreciated. He says, considering the money, isn't it possible Ozil is being frozen out for political reasons, given his opinions aren't great for business? Barra, again, if you are new to the channel, you might not know. So subscribe and drop the video a like. Get your bell notifications on, unless you're a massive bellend. But we have talked about my views about this and how I feel that there is a lot more going on than we're being told regarding the Ozil situation. Whether that is that he's not fit, whether that is that he's been getting on with life, or that it does concern those political statements that Arsenal came out making clear that they didn't want any involvement or association with Ozil's pleas for the help that was clearly needed for a Muslim community in China, who were being persecuted, maybe still are to this day. Some really questionable stuff is going on. And he raised awareness of it in a tweet. Arsenal put out a statement saying that they wanted nothing to do with said political statement, and that it was a football club, and that they were not involved or didn't want to be involved in anything political. And then 2 weeks later, signed on the dotted line, promising to wear a political statement on their armband for the next God knows how long, just so that they couldn't or wouldn't miss out on the incredible, lucrative deals, obviously, that the Premier League are offering. Yes, that's clearly got something to do with it, because he was involved directly before the break, and since it, something has clearly happened. However, it may well be that Arsenal are in a financial situation that means that they have to take action to stay above board, or out of the red. And it may well be that, much like the contractual situation of an Aubameyang, which we saw over here, is just an incredibly lucrative contract that will cost the club through the nose. £50,000 bonus for every Premier League match in which Aubameyang starts and he wins. Alone, we are talking about potential incentives in Ozil's contract, which, remember, Arsenal were desperate to sign and had backed themselves into a corner. If they'd lost Alexis Sanchez and Ozil at the time, it would have been a PR disaster. It's one that they clearly were willing to go the extra mile to avoid. And it's a particular reason that Ozil shouldn't be blamed or victimised here, scapegoated, if only because... I do want to just put this guy up, right? What's his name? This little fraud. This guy is just... it beggars belief that people actually fall for this kind of stuff, but I do want to point to his tweet that he did yesterday, unless he's deleted it. No, he hasn't, because he's brazen and he actually believes it. So basically, I'm not going to play it because I'll get a copyright strike, but Sky Cover on Ozil and the Arsenal redundancies, making a point of Ozil being paid 350 grand a week and not playing, while some of these people losing their jobs earn in a year what he earns in a day. Now, it's just a real facepalm moment that journalism is this bad in this country. That there is clearly a mouthpiece at work here. Either you are a direct mouthpiece for the club, or you don't have many brain cells upstairs. To sell this as the argument is quite backwards, when Arsenal are the ones who paid Ozil this contract, or gave Ozil this contract. Why is he to blame for signing it? Why is he to blame for Arsenal putting themselves in a predicament where they were forced to offer that contract? Why is he blamed for the fact that Arsenal have decided to make staff redundant? Why is it Ozil and not anyone else? Is it because he's not playing? Because I don't think that's his decision. It's a very questionable point of view that has been doubled down on by this guy as well. Me, myself and I just don't have any time for journalism of this standard. I laughed when I saw it. I'm not retweeting it. I don't really want to give him the attention, but I just thought I'd point it out. This is what we're going to see a lot of regarding the club, especially in times of financial turmoil, where new contracts are struggling to get done and deals won't perhaps get over the line because the club are desperate not to look like they're splashing the cash on players that they don't even want or need, but are willing to sacrifice the livelihoods of people who may well not be able to afford Christmas presents for their kids. It's political. Okay, I haven't missed any super chats to anyone that's worried about that. I am coming to you. Don't worry yourselves. Here we go. We'll start with Jay Lee, who says, hughwizzy. Please, no, don't ever. Don't.
Good evening. Good evening.
Please don't do that. No. Don't. Unai Fraudnery. Love the vids. Keep up the work. Jay Lee, you are much appreciated. My son, Alex Harris, says, Hugh, I just want to know how it feels to be such an elite fraud. Fraud gang. Gang. It is an honour to provide you with daily fraudulence. Sing is king says, if Woodward wasn't in charge of our transfer policy along with the other failed bankers running the club, the Sancho deal would have been done by now. It's another one. Manchester United are really backing themselves into a corner over this Jadon Sancho business. And Chelsea, one club that we haven't mentioned in this video, have got some positive news regarding goalkeepers. Kepa will not be the goalkeeper for next season, says Fabrizio Romano. I don't think that's any real surprise, but confirmation there from Fabrizio Romano. Good source, pretty reliable. I don't think that's a surprise to many people, but Frank Lampard has lost faith in Kepa. We move on to... who we got next? We've got Charlie Butler again. You missed my super chat. Could you go back? I believe I just did. Massive fraud. Thanks for getting involved, mate. Elliot Simon says, any outgoing loans you think would be beneficial? Look, if Ozil isn't going to be able to be shifted on a loan similar to Coutinho, what you're going to see with the likelihood of the arrival of Willian is that a youngster is going to have to leave. He's going to have to go out on loan. You're not going to be able to keep the likes of Nelson, Saka, Willian, Pepe, all of these dons, happy. No way. One of them is going to have to leave, and that may well be Maitland-Niles. Someone will miss out as a result of 32-year-old Willian turning up. Isaiah's Luna says, love from California in quarantine. Mate, I appreciate you for tuning in. I hope we're offering a little bit of an escape from the reality that's outside, and that everyone you know is safe and well. Do what you got to do to make sure that it doesn't affect you. Sing is King says, do you think that if Woodward was in charge... do you think that if Woodward wasn't in charge of United's transfer policy and the Glazers running us into the ground, we would be challenging? I mean, United should be challenging, mate. The amount of money that they are spending is astronomical. The wages are ridiculous for them not to be closer at least. And next season, if Sancho does turn up and they can get themselves a defender or a midfielder in, I expect United to be in and around the conversation. Otherwise, we're going to have a little talk about where we're going with this boss. I do see signs of progression, but a lot of that could be... There's a number of things that could be at play. United are close, though. They're close. There's no denying. That squad is exciting to look at already. Add a few more, 2-3 more, and you're in business. They're adding top players as well. Jadon Sancho is an elite individual who, only title or clubs with title aspirations would even bother talking to. DL Goat says, will Arsenal finish top 4 next season? Again, for predictions, we're going to have to wait till we've seen some transfer activity, some confirmation of some deals going through. And as it stands, Arsenal have not confirmed anything yet. Apart from that, they are in talks with Willian, in talks with Coutinho, and in talks with Gabriel. Okay, we're nearly done for today, unless we want to push it to 2,500 likes. If you need more content from me right now, you're going to have to smash the hell out of the like button. Otherwise, I'm going to love you and leave you. It is obviously a great pleasure talking to you about the beautiful game, which continues tonight, of course, with Europa League action, including Wolverhampton Wanderers against Olympiacos, the Greek side who knocked out Arsenal in the Europa League. As it stands, Bayer Leverkusen have taken a 1-0 lead against Rangers, and that is going to see them 4-1 up in the tie now. It is Diaby, the left-footed wide man, who's done the business for Leverkusen. And it looks like that game is over. Full-time whistle has just gone. Leverkusen 4, Rangers 1 is the final score there. The draw obviously has been made, so we know exactly what's going to be happening. And as Sevilla look like they're going to be moving on past Roma, they will be meeting the winner of Wolves and Olympiacos. Manchester United, of course, will be playing FC Copenhagen. Inter Milan will be playing against Leverkusen, having just beaten Rangers, and Shakhtar Donetsk, will play the winner of Basel Eintracht Frankfurt, and I think that match starts today at 8 o'clock. Although Basel, I think, have a 3-0 lead, so they should. We can assume that is going to be too much to handle. Jeez, you really like me, don't you? That went up to 2.5k real quick. It's crazy how fraudulent those freeloading thumbs are. When you put them into activity, we get somewhere. Okay then, I see you. Let me know your thoughts. Anything you want to talk about. It's a free-for-all as it stands. We are going to head over to the Super Chats. We've got more. Okay, more people. More frauds in the building. Kareem Duvarja. He hasn't said anything. You're a massive fraud for getting involved. Much love to your mothers. I'm
so happy, believe me. I'm so happy.
So happy that you are in the stream. Alec Williams says, fist bump. Oh, mate, incredible. The new safe handshake. We've been fist bumping for years where I'm from. We've been proven right. Hygienic. Yeah? No need to be doing fraudulent full-on handshakes with those sweaty palms when you don't know where those fingers have been. It strikes me as massively fraudulent. Regardless, as I say, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We'll be back again tomorrow with a paper talk bright and early. We had a bit of a late one last night, and the builders, they get here at about 8 o'clock. So if I don't get down to business very early, then I'm going to struggle. However, it seems that you're loving that series. We go through all the daily stories, the biggest ones that are breaking on the back pages, and we will continue to do so. I'm going to go back to the chat. Ayunda Zunga says 2k more likes, you frauds. Yeah, look, I'm not greedy. You've shown your appreciation. If you do want to show more, you're always more than likely. I just love you to subscribe. That would be great. We're trying to get to 200,000 subscribers before I pass away. Let's talk about Jonathan Tarr, says Ali Zaidi. Perfect acquisition, in my opinion. Jonathan Tarr, German centre-back. Arsenal have been linked with other German centre-backs in this transfer window already. Let's talk about one of them. Jonathan Tarr. He's a youngster who... Well, he's not young anymore, is it? How old is he? He is 24. He's still quite young. That's young enough for me. Got my son. Leverkusen Don, who is going to be obviously in the next round of the Europa League. £21.6 million value. When does this contract go on till? 2023. And he moved from Hamburger. Yeah. However, Arsenal have been linked with another German centre-back whose name you might not want to hear. I don't know. He comes with a certain amount of experience, that much is for sure. But Bayern Munich's Jerome Boateng has been told that he is surplus to requirements and has actually gone on record as saying he's excited about the potential of moving to the Premier League. I do worry. Arsenal are becoming a little bit of a retirement home for some players who don't have aspirations of playing at the top anymore. I don't know whether there's any truth to the Jonathan Tarr links or the Jerome Boateng links, but we have talked about the fact that Ainsley Maitland-Niles could well be on the move. Arsenal have told him he is available for transfer as they look to raise funds to invest in transfer fees after announcing that they are fraudulent and really struggling for funds. So Arsenal telling Maitland-Niles that he is basically, he's not transfer listed, but they may well be looking to move him on. Quasi, my fellow fraud, thank you for subscribing. Absolute legend. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that button and the bell one as well. We are here every day with football content. I've got some non-football content coming away as well quite soon. I hope you're going to be up for that. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the world because there is quite a lot of fraudulent activity going on. And I think it needs covering. David Silva has been linked to a move to Lazio by Gianluca Di Marzio. I've got to say, I'd love to see him in Serie A. I think he'd be a top addition to that squad. He's still got something to offer the game. And, you know, I don't think he's necessarily ready for that, you know, full-on retirement move to MLS. Still a fantastic player, incredibly creative, and he would give them a real boost for what is going to be a return to Champions League football. for the Italian club. So David Silva potentially making a move to Serie A side Lazio. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. We'll talk about Jerome Boateng now. We've got a little piece here from The Guardian. The defender has said, ahead of facing Chelsea in the Champions League, that he is ready to move on. He is actually enjoying the prospect, or looking forward to the prospect, of a new challenge. And he's been told by Niko Kovac, the Bayern Munich coach, who's got these guys running like absolute like monsters. They are well-drilled soldiers, an incredible unit who I expect to go all the way in the Champions League. He's told them, or he's been told by the coach, that he is no longer going to have a place in the squad. What do you think? Is he finished? Do Arsenal need him? Arsenal were going to have about 8 centre-backs if they were to add Jerome Boateng. He may well be one of the best at the club if he was to join. But there are other London clubs who would be able to offer him attractive propositions. And let's not forget that with Timo Werner joining Chelsea, maybe a link-up, a German link-up, is possible. Havertz could well be on his way to West London as well, so it wouldn't be altogether that surprising. Ooh, we've talked about quite a lot today. I'm almost out, but we've got a couple more here. Alec Williams says, your analysis is top class. Mate, I say what I see. I am a football obsessive, and I've been doing this obsessively since I was about 15. So if there's one thing that I feel that I can talk about, is this game. I'm just delighted to have, over the last 7 or 8 years, built a community that is, here and turns up to share in the chats. Because ultimately, this is me looking at the world of football and reacting to it with opinion. I appreciate you all joining in, and for kind words like that, it's just, gives me an extra reason to do it. Brenton Lalu says, Mr. Wizzy, sir, your views on Scott Parker as a manager. Much love from South Africa. Look, I watched the playoff final, championship final, and I was really impressed by Fulham. They played beautiful football. I was shocked at how they dominated the game against Brentford. And, I'm critical of players like Scott Parker because I feel like they are limited. But they do a job. And he understood the game well enough, not only to be that brilliant man manager who instills the importance of that game, and he spreads the passion, and it's not only that, but the way that he reacted, being the player that he was, to the goal that they'd scored when Bryant curled the free kick in from 35 yards. Bang! In comes the danger, the what do I call him? The shithouser, the man to break up play. In comes your systematic fouler. That's what he did. I cannot remember who exactly it was that he brought on. Let's just have a look. But I just remember thinking, that's brilliant, because that's exactly what the game needs now. Wrap it up. Get the job done. Don't pretend that you're this pretty thing. Let's just cause chaos. And it worked. The player that he brought on was Cavallero. I'm not going to say that they're going to do anything special in the Premier League, because I need to see more. I'll see what they've done in the window and who they lose. I would expect, for example, midfielder Reed to be going back to Southampton. I think that's where he's from. If only because he's so good. And losing Højbjerg, they may well need to fill that place again. So let's talk in a couple of weeks or so. Alec Williams, you're a legend. Cameron, you have retracted your message, but you are much appreciated for getting involved anyway. Jack Blair says, predictions for Champions League finalists. I'm not sure on how the draw is going to mean that will work out, but at the moment, Bayern Munich are favourites for me. I would love to see Manchester City going all the way as well, just to cause a little bit of a scene amongst UEFA. MH says, hey Hugh, do you miss Kick TV? I loved my time at Kick TV. I don't miss anything in the past. I love the present. It's great. I had a great time there. It was a beautiful moment in my life. If you want to see some videos from New York City or working with MLS or Kick TV, Rachel Bonetta, Jimmy Conrad, who else? Japes, Billy, just interviews with managers, players, me hugging Thierry Henry on a pitch. We've got it all on the channel. Just go back, rewind time, and it is there for you to see. Good times, mate. I loved my time there. I left slightly despondent with MLS, thinking that it was a bit fraudulent when I'd really tried to buy into the idea. I think it's the only illegally run league in the world, right, on FIFA's books, and I do have questions about how that impacts the future of American sports, especially soccer, football. But you're seeing the potential now, I think, with the likes of Pulisic, maybe even Yedlin, these guys coming over, and the amount of money that some of these players are going to become demanding from clubs soon. It's promising, so hopefully we'll see change there. But as far as MLS goes, the league itself is massively fraudulent. How are we going to get 30 clubs in like 3 years' time? When will it stop, basically? I'm pro relegation and promotion as well. So yeah, I don't even know if you were talking about American in particular, but yeah, Kick TV. There's your answer. Willian, what's this? Who have we got? We've got more super chats coming through. You're absolutely mad for it, aren't you? Who is the most disappointing teams in the Prem this season? I'm going to say Everton, or probably my most disappointing team. Everton coming 12th with all that money invested is not good enough. I expect to see more from them soon, especially with Ancelotti there. Ali Zaidi says, Boateng go to Everton. Tarr, come here, son. Young, solid, experienced, natural leader. Per frame, low agility, cheap. He's ticking a lot of boxes, unlike Upamecano, who Ali Zaidi thinks is just in the hype phase. And I've got to say, Upamecano is not the finished article. He does make a lot of mistakes. And if he was at Arsenal, would have been crucified already. Take my word for it. Jorge Cota says, would you prefer to pay out Ozil? Sanchez caused more drama for Arsenal with a free transfer. Is certainly an option, but I don't think that Arsenal are in any position to be able to do that financially. We'd have to pay him more for sure if we cancelled that contract. That's how that works. Cash Chuckers says selling Ainsley Maitland-Niles is a special level of stupid, massively fraudulent. Cash mate, thanks for getting involved. I want to see him stay. I hope that doesn't happen. Elliot Finch says opinions on Benzema starting MMA after football. Is that a joke? He should start Instagram. That's what he's good at. Rap. He's a good rapper. He's got all the contacts. He's involved in all sorts of criminal activity. That much we know. Potentially involved in the blackmail of Matthew Valbuena in an alleged leak of a sex tape. The miniature-sized Frenchman speaking out on Benzema's actions is actually what stopped Benzema playing for France and has secured Olivier Giroud's future or his time as a World Cup winner. So I would say, it wouldn't surprise me to see Benzema doing MMA. I just hope he doesn't get his head bust open like what's the other fraud who tried it from wrestling? What was his name? The tattooed Don. And you just felt sorry for him after like a minute because it was like, you're clearly not built for this. I love the fact that you got the heart, bro, but you're a wrestler. WWF. No, I'm old. WWE. I don't know what his name was. I can't remember. Someone will say in the chat in a second. So Elliot, yeah. I mean, I didn't know anything about that, but if that is actually going to happen, then I do worry. We will look at an article very briefly over here, though, that does confirm that Karim Benzema fancies a crack at MMA. He said, no problem for me. I'm up for it. He scored 21 goals and 8 assists this season. CM Punk, there he is. Brad Connolly in the chat. First, oh no, it was DJ. DJ, you fraudulent boy. South London's finest. Morley's very own. Shout out to DJ. Yeah, doing his little internet thing. He's on the war zone every day. He's helping out in the chat, moderating. All the while being the biggest fraud in the building. Shout out to DJ on the control decks. He lives in Morley's. He lives at the back of Morley's. So he is a true South London Don. Shout out to everyone. Let's get some love in the chat for my fraudulent friend, DJ from Morley's. And he is from Morley's because he genuinely lives in Morley's, right? Yeah, the biggest fraud of them all. Reece West! Hey! Oh, shit, I was supposed to reply to his WhatsApp. Oh, God. The biggest fraud of them all. Your eldest, smokiest fraud. Your McChicken sandwich is on me tonight, you pagan. Oh, wow.
I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
Imagine my own friends talking to me through Super Chat because they can't get hold of me on the phone. Arteta is... what's this? Arteta is Ober a new contract. Cam. Oh, right. Priorities for Reece are Aubameyang's new contract, attacking midfielder, mobile DM, and an athletic centre-back away from... What does that say? Away from the smoke. Okay, right. Basically, you're not going to get all of those things, mate. It's not Christmas, especially not for Arsenal fans. You don't get what you want. Okay, you get what you're given. We do need a creative midfielder. Is that Coutinho? We do need a mobile DM. Is that Thomas Partey or maybe a Danilo? Or, that's a bit of a downgrade already. Hopefully that is a Thomas Partey. Athletic DM. Is that Saliba's new partner, Gabriel? I'm hoping that that's the way we're going. Much love to Westy. I'll give you a ring after this, mate. AW says, hey Hugh, Spurs fan, but watch all your videos. See you in the Europa League. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Hard times, I know. You've enjoyed Champions League football for a few years now, though, mate. I'd like just to hear that song one more time without feeling inadequate. Ali Zaidi says, you don't understand how well you speak. The clarity of thought to explanation, very few can do it. Did you have to learn it? Like, no ums and likes. Oh, did I have to learn it? I'm a trained professional. I've been doing this for quite some time, man. It's not that I'm perfect. This is just what I like doing, talking. I love the sound of my own voice. I am full of fraudulence. And hopefully I've built up enough knowledge to be able to share or just involve myself in these conversations for hours at a time. If any of you don't know, we did have a show on TalkSport 2, 3 hours long, talking non-stop. We can go for a minute, okay? I'm sure that there's a charity stream in there where I can talk for 4 or 5 hours. I'm sure we've done that on Twitch. We've done it for 8 or 9 hours. We love what we do, and I appreciate the fact that I'm able to do this. As far as not understanding, trust me, mate, I understand, yeah? I understand. You're looking at the Lord of the Frauds. You're looking at the inspiration to thousands of mini-me's. I get it, okay? However, I'm humble enough to do my thing, work hard, diligently, without, blowing my top over the rooftops. But trust me, I understand. Yeah? The self-confidence shall not be confused for arrogance, but make no mistake.
I'm so happy, believe me. I'm so happy. Happy New Year.
Okay. Jeez, the head is, I struggle to fit my head in the door in a minute. Hey Hugh, what did you do after school, high school, bachelor's, master's? I actually left school at, I must have been 16, 17. And I left home very early. I left home at 16 and didn't get to university until I was 21. I didn't do A-levels. I didn't go to college. I actually worked at Channel 4 News on the sports desk and in a number of other places on the way to here. As far as stuff online goes, I've done Kick TV, MLS, Adidas, Nike, and 3 major tournaments, 2 World Cups, 1 Euros. Followed England all over the World Cup for TalkSport. I've had a show on the radio. I've been offered a contract by Sky Sports, but this is what I like doing. Mainstream media do not allow you to say your piece, to speak your mind. And I love the fact that I can interact with you on a daily basis and say exactly what's on my chest with full chest. I wouldn't change that for the world. And if I was to move back to mainstream media, it would have to be like a really tempting offer because the future is here. You know that. I know that. And it is just a thing that I think they're all trying to buy into now. You're seeing so many of these big corporations, journalists even, who laughed at YouTubers, who made a mockery of us back when, have now all got YouTube accounts. It's fucking hilarious seeing these square dons with no personality or charisma whatsoever reading off pieces of paper into a screen which is like up here or something, pretending that they're actually not interested in what we were all interested in the first place. In fact, I'll say this much. Football dons on YouTube, most of them are massively fraudulent. Half of them don't even like football, and I guarantee you at least 80% don't watch it. Never mind the full games. Never mind multiple full games a day. You're dealing with the Lord of the Frauds. I hope you know that. I'm happy to have you here. I hope you appreciate, or I hope you know that I appreciate that you have chosen to ride with me. Beautiful scenes of glorious emotion. Okay, so Satrabat, that's what I did after school. I've done all kinds of jobs though, mate. I've had bar work, I've done letting agency stuff. I've done like a bit of demolition. I've done, what have I not done? I've done a lot of stuff trying to work out what I'm doing. And I've found my calling about, I'm going to say like 7 or 8 years ago. I realised like, oh, this is what I want to do. And I'm just going to do it and see where we end up. And what I should say to anyone as well, I know that we're going way off track here as well, but I know that I get a lot of messages of people who are, keen to do their own thing or keen to use their platform for a similar purpose, is build your own castle, put your 40,000 hours in, and you will be a success. If you are as obsessive as I am about this, or if you love what you do, then it's never work. I get up every day and I literally enjoy looking for what we're going to talk about, or doing the research or watching the games so that I can share the emotion afterwards, because that is who I am. Okay, and hopefully that shines through. Anyhow, enough waffling. Harrison Ball says, opinions on Lewis Silby. There's a link from Arsenal. Sorry. This is a Derby County player, Louis Silby, who plays. He's playing on the left sometimes, but he's in the middle. I don't know any truth to this whatsoever, but I know, for example, that he's very young and he's had a good season there. He's got quite a few assists in quite a small amount of time. I didn't know that we were being linked, but I'd say that would be a shrewd signing, something that would require scouting, surely, which isn't something apparently that Arsenal want to do. Ali says, Hugh, you invited me on your TalkSport radio show in the studio once 2 years ago when I came to London. Went live on Periscope too. Was insane. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. Fraud is in the building, and he says, rather have Benassa back or Party. I'd rather have Party. We've lost Benassa back already, and he'd cost us about 20 times what we sold him for. So that in itself is something that we're going to have to forget. We've done the same with Jeff Rennie Adelaide, Serge Gnabry, and a whole host of other players. Hopefully that won't continue, because, wow, we are going to live to regret that if we're forced to pay, as Manchester United were for Pogba, or, these Manchester clubs are for players that have left. I find it quite interesting as well that Manchester City, for example, are kind of stockpiling players in the hopes, not that they can grow them into players that they can then sell on for massive profit or to loan out for years like Chelsea do, but just so that they can sell them for a bit more. That looks like what Man City are doing. It is profitable. It does work. And they are, as it stands, keeping out of the run-ins to buy back the players, which is the nightmare. You don't want to be paying £90 million for a guy that was yours 2-3 years ago. Regardless, we have been on for an hour and a half, 90 minutes plus injury time of fraudulence. If you wouldn't mind dropping the video a damn like, that would be much appreciated. But
It's time to go!
It really is. I'm going to love you and leave you. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new, and drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. But for now, my name's been hughwizzy, and this has been... What's it been? It's been a lot of fun. Peace.